Hey troops, GeneralJSmith here, back with my comparison of 75059 Sandcrawler versus 10188, the Death Star. So then, I'm back with two more sets to compare for you. I'm thinking about making this like a full series of comparing different sets versus different things. That's why I'm going to ask you right now, leave down in the comments if you've got any suggestions you want me to compare the Sandcrawler to, or the Death Star, or just any other two sets actually you want me to compare. For example, maybe the AT-AT versus the Death Star or whatever. I would suggest though, if you want to see the Sandcrawler against something else, that you put it down in the comments fairly soon, because hopefully I will be selling that fairly soon, and obviously I can't compare it when it's already sold. But anyway, so yeah, I'll be comparing every aspect of these sets to decide which one's best. I know some of you probably got your own opinions anyway. Make sure to leave your own opinions down in the comments as well. I'll be comparing the minifigures, the sets themselves, instructions, the boxes, and, well, yeah. But yeah, let's just, I think, get right into this then, right now. So we're going to start with the minifigures then. So as you can see, each set comes with quite a few minifigures, which, well, you are getting a lot more with the larger sets, because that is one of the greatest appeals of them, is the fact you get so many, and in fact quite a lot of exclusive minifigures is generally what you tend to get with the really larger sets. For example, from the Turn 8 Death Star, of course, this was Turn 8 7 years ago, so you appreciate a lot of these minifigures were updated, but even so, you got a lot of new minifigures here. For example, you got this new R2-D2 headpiece with a slightly greyish tint to it, as opposed to the normal white we had before. Now, again, this has been updated. And various other minifigures, which are kind of new or rare. Along with the Sandcrawler, you got quite a few minifigures that are kind of rare as well. You got this C-3PO with leg printing. You got, again, this new R2-D2 we did get in early in that year, but even so. You got quite a few minifigs here which are pretty cool. As you can see, of course, the Death Star does come with considerably more minifigs than the Sandcrawler. But, I mean, not all larger sets have to come with a ton of minifigures. I mean, for example, of course, the Superstar Destroyer only came with, what, 5 or 6 minifigures? You know, they don't have to. But I think LEGO is trying to put more and more minifigs into the larger sets. Because I know they appreciate now that that's one of the greatest appeals of these sets is the minifigures, hence the Ewok Village, which came with a ton as well. So yeah, we're just going to go through a little quick run around. Of course, this is not a review, it is just a comparison, so we're not actually going through each and every minifigure. But I've tried to put them on the base plates. As you can see, I had to really cram them in with the Death Star because there's so many. But yeah, we're just going to go through them right now. So moving along there, of course, we get 4 Jawas with the Sandcrawler. The previous Sandcrawler, we only got 3. They are pretty cool, and they're really rare minifigures. You see the droids in the back there, by the way. Some of them are brick built. You got a new Luke, he has been updated. And Uncle Owen. We never saw Aunt Prue, that's unfortunate. Got R2-D2 the new version. You got C-3PO, again with the leg printing. And that's more or less it then. Moving on to the Death Star. You see here we've got these. Look, I put all the good guy minifigs in the front and then the bad guy minifigures in the back. Try and distinguish them. We've got a ton of minifigs of that set. But yeah. So more or less it. The minifigures then, pretty cool. I guess overall, again, leave down your thoughts in the comments, but I guess overall I will have to go with the Death Star being the victor when it comes to minifigures. I know the minifigures here are more up to date, are cooler, but just for the quantity, and of course you have to remember this will turn 8 sets, so basing it on what it was like at the time, minifigures, come on, it has to go to the ones with the most classic ones, like the Emperor, Darth Vader, the entire gang, all of that. The victor when it comes to minifigures is the Death Star. Alright then, so moving on to the sets. As I said, there's not a review, I'll just be going through it. The reviews, by the way, and the Let's Builds will be down in the description, so please go check those out. But anyway, so, going to size, I mean, just starting off, as you can see, the size difference is incredible. I mean, I've actually done a review, or sorry, a comparison of the Sandcrawler with like the Star Destroyer and stuff, and it's actually taller than the Star Destroyer. So that's, you know, pretty epic. It's about the same sort of height as the AT-AP as I remember from 2014, which is, you know, reasonably high. Oh my gosh. It is dwarfed by the Death Star. The Sandcrawler, as you can see, barely comes up to this level. I think it's a little above it. You know, I mean, and that's the highest point on the Sandcrawler. It just is completely dwarfed by it. Almost double the height. And looking at the price point, the Sandcrawler is £250. This is £275. I know in dollars it's a larger difference. I know it's like $100 difference. But, you know, you get, what, 500-600 more pieces with this set. And that's only like a £25 difference. It's almost twice the height and size of it. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I have actually tested this out. If you look at the Death Star, like if I were to go around there and look at it from that side on, the Death Star can genuinely block out the entire Sandcrawler, like, with it being long ways, I mean. It's genuinely that large. You can't even know it's there. It's unbelievable. Looking at the sets themselves, though, so they both come with a lot of features, which generally you don't get as much with the larger sets, or, well, or shall I say the UCS sets. I mean, the Sandcrawler is a UCS set, the Death Star is not. I've heard the definition of a UCS set is one that, I mean, obviously it stands for Ultimate Collector Series, but it's like, a UCS set is classed as something that's minifigure scale, I believe. Now, I'm not sure that's 100% accurate. I just thought it was sort of something over a certain amount of pieces, or something really large, or like something you could only put on display, like it didn't have play features. But, well, I'm not quite sure though what the official definition of a UCS set is, and why this isn't, or the Ewok Village isn't, or other things like that, whereas the Sandcrawler, the Superstar Destroyer, etc. are UCS sets. I'm not 100% sure on that. But even so, they both come with a ton of features, as I said before, but once again, the Death Star has to dwarf the Sandcrawler in playability and features, because every section, first of all, of course you can see it's got a ton of sections, and actually I'm not sure it's the only set, but it very well may be the only set ever. You can see on the box, it's got two sides of it, like pictures on the box. I mean, generally, obviously, you only have the main bit showing the features. You would not have two different pictures showing the features, if you understand my meaning. But it's just so large, and of course, it's such a 3D set with so many things all around. You need to have at least 2 pages to truly grasp all the different features. It's kind of crazy, actually, because every single section has a ton of features. It's kind of ridiculous. The Sandcrawler pretty much has what you'd expect. You know, the wheels obviously move, the ramp goes down, you can put the minifigures in. There is some other cool stuff inside, which perhaps you wouldn't expect, some pretty cool features and all that, but really is nothing too extraordinary, whereas the Death Star, it comes with so many. I genuinely could not have packed more into this if I tried, really. If I was going to make a great Death Star, I would have made this. I genuinely would have. Well, I would have tried, but you understand what I mean. So, yeah, really, I mean, there's nothing really particularly to say about the sets then. As you can just see, the Death Star completely dwarfs the Sandcrawler. And, I mean, in dollars, as I said, it's $400 and $300, the Sandcrawler. So, this is slightly different. Of course, by the way, you can still buy this. So, it's not even a case of, oh, I have to go on eBay to buy it. I mean, I did, actually, just because it's a bit cheaper. But even so, you don't have to. So, you can still buy it new, I believe. However, I'd hurry, because it's going to be retired at the end of this year. So yeah, but overall, I mean, once again, I'm not sure it's going to be a big shock, but overall, just with the vehicle slash set, space station, I will have to give the edge to the Death Star. Alright, so now moving on to the instruction manual. As you can see, I mean, well, obviously there's nothing particularly much to compare. It's not a case of like which one you should buy depending on the instruction manual, but I just thought I'd compare it anyway. But can you just see the size difference? It's crazy. I mean, I obviously thought the Death Star would be larger when I bought it, but I didn't truly appreciate the true massiveness of this set. I mean, it's just another example of the way that Lego, I mean, I suppose, yeah, it just had to be cheaper years ago. I know there's been statistics and whatever saying that no, it hasn't, and Lego prices hasn't actually changed. But come on, I mean, it's just everything about it, what you get. I mean, just making instruction manuals. Imagine, I appreciate obviously the instruction manual isn't the most costly part of the set, but from Lego's point of view, printing all this, putting it in a binder, all this other stuff, it's pretty costly, especially if they're mass producing this thing. So, yeah. But anyway, so since that point, they've definitely downsized. Remember, this was Turn 8, this was 2014, so 6 years apart. Just look at the size compared to, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I have heard that the Superstar Destroyer manual was also about the same size as this. It was a binder as well. This is more like a booklet. Now, until I got this set, this was the largest instruction manual I've ever had by some amount. Just having a quick look through then, as with the recent UCS sets, and well, not just UCS, but also idea sets. In the front few pages, you get a little bit about the model, about the actual vehicle within Star Wars. like the stuff, you get the bags, 16 number bags. That's another thing I want to go about in a minute. You know, the pages are pretty thin, like they're pretty, I don't know, it's just hard to describe, because I wouldn't call them different pages types to other ones, but even so. In Got Back, you got some other UCS sets. This is officially UCS. This is not. I'm not sure really why. I thought it was just like those that are sort of play sets, so I don't know. That's UCS. I think that's UCS as well. But, yeah, and of course you've got the features in the back. You've got so much more with these sort of instruction manuals. You do get a fair amount in the Death Star one, but as, you know, times have gone on and 6 years later, they do like to put a bit more in them. So that's pretty cool. I like looking at promotions on the back of other sets. The Death Star one, I mean, there's just no reasonable way you can hold this with one hand. I wouldn't risk it, because I actually want to keep this in mint condition just for the sake. I mean, I'm never going to resell this, so it's not like, you know, I want to keep it in mint condition to sell. But I just want to keep it for the sake of it, because this, oh my gosh, it's actually genuinely heavy. Of course, you've got the binder here, keeping it all together. And this is a heavy-duty binder. This is not going to fall apart on you or whatever. You're not going to get pages falling out. But anyway, oh gosh, this is difficult. But okay, look in the back then. You've got an overload of features. It is kind of bonkers. Features coming out of everywhere. It's kind of crazy. Oh gosh. And this is like, this is probably cardboard here. You actually got like a reinforcement bit there, if you can sort of see it. Like, this is full cardboard. You got 2 pages of inventory. I'm really trying not to rip this, but I'm going to have to put it down. There's no hope. But anyway, so yeah, so you don't get any promotions you got with the Sandcrawler one. That is different. Also, looking at the front, whoa, oh, snap. I partially ripped that. See, that's what I'm talking about, it's so crazy. But anyway, yeah, so it doesn't actually give you the numbers of bags, like how many bags there are. And actually, unlike the Sandcrawler, it gives you different boxes within the box. I'll show that when I show the boxes. And it's actually 7 different numbered bags, but of course there are multiples of each number, which can get annoying, especially if you don't have a very large workspace, because unlike the Sandcrawler, the building, I've got to say, was a lot harder. And not just because it has more pieces, but because there was only 7 different numbers, but each number had multiple bags. Hopefully, if you've been into Lego, you know what I mean. That's really was annoying. And I've got to say, the first and last bag, the first and 7th bag, were definitely the longest, taking a considerable amount of time just finding each piece. Of course, as you kept building, it kept getting quicker, but even so. But yeah, more or less, that's the instruction manual, just showing you that. Of course, the Death Star dwarfs that one. I really want to see the UCS Millennium Falcon instruction manual, because I can't imagine what size that must be. But who knows. Anyway, so that's more to say this instruction manual. Let's go on the box, and they conclude this comparison. Alright, so now finally moving on to the boxes. You can just see here, I've actually had to stand up to do this bit, because shit, they're so large. The box is actually pretty similar size. If I can try to tip these over in the same way, you can kind of see, hopefully, I can't see by the way, I don't know if you can see this, but the Death Star box is a tiny, tiny bit larger that way, but really is not noticeable, to the point where I think actually I might have just sort of been seeing things and maybe it's no difference whatsoever. As you can see, it is a tiny bit taller, like what, an inch, inch and a half taller. It is really not noticeable. Trying to put it this way around. Ooh, the Death Star is also like inch, maybe 2 inches longer. But really, the boxes are very similar inside. Nothing too special there. Looking at the Sandcrawler box, you see here in the corner, you have Ultra Collect Series, UCS, all that stuff. I mean, the box art, like, as it is, it's kind of similar, obviously. You know, got Lego Stars on the top, got the set as a major part. Oh, sorry, no, it's not there, but I thought that, like, it's got a few features down here. The only features in the bottom of the Sandcrawler. On the top, you've got the minifigures, as well as some dimensions, which are pretty cool. You do not, unfortunately, have that with the Death Star. You just have the incredible amount of minifigures taking up the entire space. But, you know, even so. Looking at the back, then, you've got the immense amount of features that come with the Death Star, just completely taking over the entire back of it. I assume it's the same with the Sandcrawler. And it is, basically. Actually, you've got a large picture, like half of the back of the box is taken up by the Sandcrawler, and it's like a different view. And the other half is like features and things, just showing that it doesn't quite as many features. It does have a lot, but, you know, nothing too special. You got, apparently it says a little bit of an instruction manual, but nothing amazing special there. By the way, I just got to say, the Star Wars logo is slightly different. You know, it's more sort of golden on the Sandcrawler, you know, as moved on. Which is pretty cool, actually. I like the golden look to Star Wars. It makes it look sort of more, I don't know, special, authentic. As I said before, it comes with 16 numbered bags. There was nothing inside this box other than just the bags and the instruction manual. It does come with, I think, a wooden cardboard thing to hold the instruction manual. It's probably what you expect with these larger ones as well. Whereas in the Death Star, I forgot to show it in the review, but well, maybe I did, I can't remember. Anyway, so you see you've got these boxes here. You've actually got 4 of them. If I just take one out, this is the largest one. This is box 1. For some reason this is thicker than the other boxes. I don't know why, but you see there. So you can see there are more boxes, and each side of one, in each one of those boxes you'd have multiple bags. I think some boxes were just down to like one numbered bag, like numbered bag 2 or something. But generally, you know, you'd have more than one. But yeah, really, that's more or less it to the boxes. Of course, not the major part of the set, but just worth pointing out, I guess. In all honesty, even though, of course, you can't really rate boxes. It's not like, you know, you can say, oh, I recommend getting that box. But I've got to be honest, I kind of prefer the Death Star box for some unknown reason. I mean, the build, you know, is a little harder. Well, not just because more pieces, but as I said, because of the mini bags. But you know, it's a slight price to pay. It's not the worst thing in the world, I guess. I mean, of course, Lego is for building, so you know, it's a bit weird complaining about the build, but whatever. Yeah, Rich, I guess if you do want to buy just the box, I would recommend that box. But you know, beware it's not worn or something, because obviously it's quite old. So if you want to buy it on eBay, then it may be worn like this one. But even so, that's more or less it. I think that's it for the entire comparison then. Let's go now and conclude this comparison video. So then, overall, my verdict on the Sandcrawler versus the Death Star. I think a lot of you have probably already guessed which one I'm going to go for here. But it was a carry-out conclusion. Even though I got the set, I thought this is going to be one of my favourite sets of all time. Yes, my favourite set is the Death Star. Really, there's no way to sort of compare these, because to be honest with you, I mean, the only reason you may want the Sandcrawler more is just really if you prefer the Sandcrawler as a vehicle. If you just look at it as Lego sets, in a lot of ways, the Death Star just, well, it's just superior. Not to say the Sandcrawler is, of course, a bad set in any way. I mean, I am selling it, but that's not relevant. You know, it's just everything, it just sort of does it a bit better. I mean, as display piece, yeah, I guess the Sandcrawler obviously does look more accurate to the Sandcrawler, just because the Death Star, of course, didn't have all these sections, and you didn't see the interior from the outside. But, you know, I mean, you don't really have to be that much into Star Wars at all, or even into sci-fi to know, yeah, that's the Death Star. You look at the super laser, you look at, I don't know, the minifigures, and it's like, yeah, come on, that is the Death Star. And I guess the Sandcrawler is also pretty recognizable, but perhaps you need to know a little more about Star Wars knowledge. Like, my parents would not probably know what the Sandcrawler is, but even so. So yeah, that is my verdict then, both of which are very good sets, both of which I would recommend if you have the money. But I just overall recommend the Death Star, and I recommend getting it sooner rather than later, because as I said, it will be retiring at the end of this year. Hence, and well, which is pretty epic actually, since the 2008 set, you know, being around for all this time, that's pretty remarkable. So yeah, so as I said, you can check out the reviews of both these sets down in the description. And that is more or less it into my first proper, I mean, I have done comparisons in before, but I would say it's my first real proper start to a series of comparisons. If you want to see any more comparisons from me, please leave it down in the comments, and also leave down in the comments your opinions. You know, say, was I out of my mind? Was I crazy? Did I get it dead on? You know, what would you have said? I really want to know. Leave it down below. Would you prefer the Sandcrawler? It is a really cool set. And if you have one of them, would you give it up for the other one? You know, so there you go. And of course, if you do leave one down there, I will more likely reply to you. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. And also leave down in the comments anything you want me to compare these sets to in the future. I will be not giving away, but I will be selling the Sandcrawler at some point. So I recommend, if you want to see something compared to that, that you leave it down in the comments sooner rather than later, because it may very well be sold by the time you're leaving it down there. But okay, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in another video next week with my 2-year anniversary on YouTube, or near enough. and I was doing my full history, so I hope you enjoy that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye, troops. $75059 Sandcrawler versus the one. But these two definitely do come with a lot of pieces, you know. Redo that.